In this video, we're going to take a look at variables. Super duper duper important concept in programming. And we're going to talk about how to make them in JavaScript. I'm not going to talk about the basics. Like if you just want to understand the super basic concept of what a variable is, we already have that in our lesson 5 variables on code.org. This video is probably better than anything I could make about that. What I'm going to show you is some more extended concepts that code.org videos won't show you. So let's dive in. You should have stepped through all of these and watched that video. And then when you get to bubble number 5, lesson 5, bubble number 5, go ahead and try this. But I want to show you something that code.org isn't teaching you. So right away, this is a debugging challenge. And what they're asking us to do is figure out what the problem is here, because these variable names don't follow the rules. So right away, this one has spaces in it. And so if you get rid of the spaces, then that'll get rid of that error message. And it won't run yet until we fix all of these other errors, but at least that takes care of that. Now what code.org doesn't teach you is that in JavaScript, there's a custom that people use when they name variables that have more than one word. So instead of spaces, they do what's called camel case. Okay, in JavaScript, we should use camel case. And you'll notice I wrote the word camel case in camel case. So what it is the first letter of any variable name, any label, should be lowercase. And if there's a new word in that name, you capitalize that new word without a space. So here, size of circle really should be size capital of capital circle. Okay? And that's the proper way to name this variable. This isn't mandatory in JavaScript, but you will see this style used anywhere you see JavaScript code. JavaScript programmers use this style, camel case. Okay. Another quick tip. I've got 3 different size of circles to rename. I'm going to go back to the beginning here and show you a really slick thing that you can do in the code.org environment that allows you to rename all of those at once. Okay. I'll put my comment back here. What you do is you select something. On a Chromebook or a PC, you're going to hit Control F for find. On a MacBook, you're going to hit Command F for find, and that's going to pop this up. And then you're going to hit this All button. And when you do that, it selects all occurrences, and you'll notice it puts multiple cursors in the environment. And when I start typing right now, don't hit delete, don't hit anything, just start typing. It's going to type over all of those at once. So size of circle, and I'm done. I've renamed all of those variables at once. So that's fantastic. Let's go to the next one. This looks like L dimension, but actually that's a number 1. So I'm going to rename this with the same trick. I'm going to hit Command F, find all, and I'm going to rename it the word 1 dimension with camel case. And then Y location, this is actually named correctly, but then when we reuse it, they didn't reuse the exact same name. Okay, so now when I run it, everything works and the picture looks like it is there. So camel case, Command F, find all, super, super handy. Another great trick. Let's pop over. You should do all these, but I'm going to focus on letter C on bubble 7 here right now. And again, we're debugging. In the code below, variables are created, but none of them are actually being used. Ear size, eye size, center. Find the spots where they can be used. So ear size is 80. And notice when I double click that number 80, it highlights all the occurrences of that thing in the code, and I can see that the number 80 is used 4 times. So what they're asking me to do is, instead of hard coding the number 80 in here, I'm going to use ear size instead. Right, now I could go through like this, one by one, and redo all of this, or you can click put your cursor there, and now, again, on a PC or a Mac, you're going to do Control. Sorry, on a PC or a Chromebook, you're going to say Control. On a MacBook, it's Command. And you're just going to hold that key and click in all of the places that you want a cursor. So I'm on a MacBook, I'm holding Command, and I'm clicking. And now I have 4 cursors at once, and if I hit Delete twice, it does all of them at once, and I can type ear size in 4 different places at once. Hit Escape to get back to a single cursor. Super, super good trick. So eye size is down here. The 15 shows up 4 times. I'm going to use the same trick here, and you can see that you can be far more productive with these multiple cursors. And then center shows up a bunch of times in here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I'm already done with that whole challenge. Last thing. Bubble 9, once you get here, challenge letter A. This is something they're not talking about yet in this lesson, but it's something I want to mention. They're very general. They say using variables, draw an image where many of the items rely on a variable for size or placement. This is important. They're not really stressing in code.org quite how important this is. In fact, if you want to properly animate things later on, like right now we have just the eyes of that robot. If you want to properly animate this robot later in a game, and you do, then you need to use variables for everything that has to do with size or position. Now, as it is, they have a variable used just for the Y position. They have not used variables for the X. So that's a position item that needs to be coded as a variable, not hard-coded as a number. Now, these are 2 different X numbers. What you can actually do is use a little arithmetic in your variables. So halfway between 150 and 250, in the middle there is 200, x equals 200. So I'm going to let x equal 200. And then here, my number 150, that's x minus 50. And you can actually type that in as an argument. 250 is x plus 50. It looks the same. Why did I go through all that work? Well, here's the reason. Again, animation. If I want my robot to walk across the screen and I just start changing x, both the eyes move together. Okay? I can change y. It'll move down the screen. And the eyes will move together. Because I did not hard code the position of the eyes are dependent on these variables. So if I want to move the whole thing at once, okay, all I have to do is change that one variable. And then if you add more things, you shouldn't hard code those positions or sizes either. You should use the variables. So let's do the head. We've got a gray rectangle, right? Now rectangle takes an x and a y, and that's the upper left corner. So I'm going to go say 100, 0. And you'll notice I'm already screwing up because I'm hard coding these numbers, so I'll fix it in a minute. I want that to go out to 300, 0, width of 300, and we'll go down to about 150, so the height I'll go 150 and see how that looks. Oh, that's ugly. Got to move that up above the eyes. Okay, it's too wide. Fix that. There we go, starting to look better. Now, I hard-coded everything. That's bad. X value, 100. Again, put it in terms of this variable x. The number 100 is x minus 100, right? 200 minus 100 gives me the same thing. That's good. Y value of 0, that is the variable y, minus 50. Because y is equal to 50, 50 minus 50 is 0. Width, that I'm going to code separately. And we'll call it 200. The reason is, what if I want to animate the width or the height on its own? So we'll put everything in terms of the head height and width. And there we go. And then let's just double check. If I try to waltz this robot head down the screen, it's all going together and I only have to change one number. That's exactly what I wanted. I hope you get the point here. Don't hard code numbers. Use arithmetic and put it in terms of variables. It is extra work up front, but it makes animation and gaming possible later on. Without this, you will see you won't be able to animate things. So happy coding.